Once we wrapped the film, I immediately went into editing and tried very hard to get sort of a cut of this together because I wanted to put it in then it was known as the Atlantic Film Festival, now it's known as FIN. I just felt like that sort of hometown viewing was important. So we went into editing and I think I had a first cut fairly soon. The cutting of the film really allowed me to trim a lot of the fat that I think we just didn't need. I think I had a lot of sort of like scene ends that just, it was too much, like cut 30 seconds earlier and it's much better. We had transition scenes that were not needed, like one of Taylor running out of the house and then getting into a car and driving off, but we didn't need it. We cut from him inside and then leaving the house to him already in the car. I mean, an audience isn't dumb. They know that he's driving a car. I don't need to show you how we got in the car. It's just useless information. But it allowed me to sort of pinpoint a lot of moments that didn't need to be there and then delete some scenes that just were redundant and really tighten the story and sort of craft it to a point where it was a flowing narrative and it sort of made the most sense. The biggest aspect of this and just the amount of work they put in was from Justin and Brad and those who helped them with the sound design in the final cut. I mentioned earlier that moment in the audio studio where it was me and Taylor and Justin, convinced me with Taylor, like, cut your shit out and go make this damn movie. But Justin also, like, he gave his house to us, he gave us support, like he just knocked it out of the park with making this thing work. Within production, pre-production, and I owe him, not only for this film, but for so many projects I've had. Without him, I don't think my career happens. And I don't think the stories that we've told within short films and feature, I don't think they happen. Justin's talents and ability to just adapt and his quality and his unrelenting talent of finding the best way to produce something in sound and just overall everything. So many late nights I spent with him in a studio trying to fix audio. I remember all-nighters at the old school we used to be at. Justin just gave so much to me and so much to this film, and I can't thank him enough. He's just one of the most talented human beings I've ever met. Along with Brad Cormier. Sound is so important. I've heard this saying a lot and I believe it. I don't think there's ever been a good film with bad sound. I think yes, it's a visual medium, but I think the first thing people notice is bad sound because of Justin and Brad and because of their professionalism and because of their quality. Without that, this film is just not what it turned out to be. And so much of this film is owed to them and the work that they put in, and I cannot thank them enough. Married with that as well, with the sound is Donnie Wallace, who did music for 2 short films I made, Ageless. And Last Day of Fall. He did the score for this, and I sort of see film, there's sort of moments where your film comes to life. Once you get the script done, it's like, okay, the story exists, so that's sort of step 1 in the birth process of this. Step 2 is when you get the film done, when you get the film shot. Here's your blueprint, and now you have the film shot, so okay, now it has another life to it.
I love you, but I have nothing to live for anymore. I never wanted to burden you, so just live your life as if I was never here.
Then you get the cut together and then it's a whole other thing. But when music gets put in, I find that, it's just, the skeleton's there. We have all the skin, we have all the organs, we have everything, except we're missing one thing, and that's the beating heart. The heart's in there, it's just not beating yet. And then when the music comes in, I think that first pump of blood goes through the heart in a film.
I love you, but I have nothing to live for anymore. I never wanted to burden you, so just live your life as if I was never here. Please.
When I first got the music Donnie made for this film, I remember very distinctively, and I'm not embarrassed to say that I cried because it was so beautiful. The way that he captured the darkness, the serious tone of it, as well as the hopeful nature and light that Ellie was, and this relationship that Ellie and Nolan had.
I'm sorry. You're such a jerk.
Marry that with the dark tones of Bob and Sam whenever he comes in.
And not have one single day without you. I came here to get away from you. Not to have you follow me around.
It's just this beautiful, beautiful score of complete understanding of what the story was. You know, because I think you could have made a score that was, hey, that's a great score. That really, you know, that fits the film. Or you could have a score that had the soul of everything this film was trying to be and everything this film was trying to represent. And I think Donnie found the soul of what we were trying to do and put that into a musical score that just lifted this film up to the skies. And I'll always be grateful for what Donnie did with this. You have the sound design team with Justin and Brad and those who helped him. You have Donnie's music and you put them together and put them with the visuals, and then you have something that, again, and I mentioned this before, is punching above its weight class. And that's because of the talent of those guys and just their ability to create art, legitimate art. The amount of hours they work just to make this thing happen, it's phenomenal. And when you watch the film and you hear the sound and you hear the music and everything, just know that a lot of hard work went into it, and it was the talent and abilities of those guys that made this work. Once the film was at a stage where it was sort of like a rough cut, barely done, I submitted it to the Atlantic Film Festival, but it never got in, and I understood why. I got it. The film was in a rough state. They would have just had to fill in a lot of gaps mentally watching that film to even think that it was, you know, even decent, let alone good enough to be in the festival. So I got it. But once the film was done, I resubmitted it because it was within that timeline that I could, and I really wanted to have that hometown showing, at least hometown being Halifax. But the second time we got rejected again, and that one stung a bit, because I thought that the film that we had created was very much, you know, good enough to be in a festival. I thought the film was great, and I thought it was because of the people involved, not necessarily me, but I thought it was because of the people involved with making it the best it could be. And I was slightly heartbroken when I got the rejection letter that it wasn't going to play in the Atlantic Film Festival, because, you know, that is the biggest festival in our province, and I was just very heartbroken at the idea that it wasn't going to be shown, and that stung a bit. I think that lessened my enthusiasm on the film, and for a while I think I struggled with feeling that the film wasn't good enough. You know, I didn't create a good enough film to be in it, and I thought I let a lot of people down, because I thought, you know, what did I do wrong that this film couldn't get into the festival? So many people worked on this, and I genuinely thought that they deserved to be showcased on a stage like this, and we just didn't get in, and it hurt quite a bit. I don't know the reason why it never got in, but I really did wish it would have. I think that would have been huge for us. So around that time, I was very concerned, and I was like, shit, is anybody ever going to see this? Are we going to be able to get into a film festival, which is obviously so important to a filmmaker and to the process of making movies? Are we going to be able to get this thing seen on a professional level? And I thought for a very long time that was not going to be the case, and I thought, this isn't good. Until somebody took a chance and wanted to show our film.